Alrighty, let's check out the newest from Ferragamo. This is from the emerging Ferragamo for Men line. This is Ferragamo Bright Leather. So this one just kind of showed up, just kind of came out, and you know, I figured we would have another one of these for sure. This line is really taking off. We're up to 4 in total. We have Ferragamo, we have Ferragamo Intense, we have Spicy Leather, which I still have not picked up or smelled yet, which I need to, and Bright Leather, the newest here. All of them are focused around leather, if you can believe it. Great fragrances. The original, is it the original or is it the Intense? One of them has a little bit of an ombre leather by Tom Ford type of smell, kind of ozonic, fresher leather. Good fragrances all around, great quality, great presentations on these. I'm excited to check this one out. Obviously seems like it's going to be a summertime version here. It's an eau de toilette. On the side it says Bright Future, Essential Pureness, and Dreaming Journey. And so Bright Future lists off the top notes, Essential Pureness lists off the mid, and Dreaming Notes or Dreaming Journey lists off the base notes. Pretty cool. Let's see. So here's the bottle. If you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all, other than some coloration changes. They're staying pretty much the same. Out of all of them, this one does look like a summertime version, or at least a brighter version, right? You have the clear glass here, very easy to see the juice level. Cap does click into place, and atomizers on these, from what I can remember, are pretty good. I believe they're pressurized. Yeah, they're really good atomizers. So let's go ahead and see what this is all about here. Dior Fahrenheit vibes. kind of, a little bit. Not fully, but it does have this kind of ozonic citrus smell and this kind of brightness, but also this aromatic and earthiness as well. Is kind of how it's coming across. Definitely getting a heavy dose of musks in here, like a cashmere musk and that sort of thing. You know, very modern, trendy type of smell. Like you would expect in the name, Ferragamo Bright Leather. You're expecting some vibrance, some effervescence here, and you are getting that. You know, it does open up nice and fresh. Right off the bat, for me, it's not something that I would get super hyped up about, though. Like, for me, I'm really kind of tough on freshies and citrus fragrances these days, just because really the bulk of my collection is made up of those. And so I don't need more that are just okay, because they're not going to get worn. They're just going to sit there. And so for me, when it comes down to it, I'm really kind of picky on what I'm looking for if I do want to add a new summertime scent to my collection. That being said, especially as it's sitting down, some more layers are coming through, which is kind of making me want to stick around and smell to the end. I'm going to regardless, but just kind of coming from, you know, my excitement level for this, I can see this one really opening up as it sits longer, and that's something I'm kind of interested to see and how it develops. We will take a look at the notes. We've got bergamot, mandarin orange, and grapefruit up top. We have white leather, basil, and rosemary in the mid. Cedar, patchouli, and musk in the base. So getting a lot of that musk right off the bat. The citrus coming through, the bergamot, grapefruit in particular is what I'm getting the most of. Nice combination. Not a whole lot of the orange though for me. The basil and the rosemary are coming through a lot, and that's that aromatic mid that I was talking about. You can really pick up on those. It kind of gives it an outdoor, kind of green, almost nature type of smell. Definitely more spring smelling than summer. That being said, I think this would work great in summertime, but for me, when I think of a spring fragrance, I think of primarily aromatics and green scents, just because everything's coming back to life. You're starting to mow again for the first time. You're smelling the fresh cut grass for the first time of the year. And so that's, you know, kind of all the stuff that you're taking in. The leather I'm picking up on a little bit. It's kind of very much a light leather, not an animalic leather at all. You know, it's kind of almost, I don't know, an ozonic leather, if that makes any sort of sense, like a musky leather. It's kind of strange, but that's kind of how it's coming across here. In terms of the base notes, the musk I already said, hints of woods, you know, a little bit of cedar wood, I guess is what they're listing it as. It's not coming across too sharp or too spicy or too dry, just kind of a general wood base. I think the patchouli is also kind of aiding to a little bit of that slight earthiness that I was talking about as well. So it's kind of cool to see everything tying together here. Definitely has a summertime, spring, summer note breakdown. Probably more spring again when you take a look at the base notes and that sort of thing. You know, it still work in summertime, but I think most would consider this a spring fragrance. You know, the main accords are fresh, spicy, citrus, aromatic, woody, green. You guys get the idea here. Let's see what the comparisons, if there are any. So we've got Aqua Fahrenheit by Dior. So I guess I wasn't too far off. That's 7-0, so some people agree. And yeah, I guess that would be a good way to put it, more so the Aqua version, because there is almost a little bit of a violet leaf watery smell to this one. And violet leaf will give off kind of sometimes a watery smell, not really aquatic, but watery, even though they don't list it. We have Briony for Men, which is one I have not smelled yet. And this looks to be Ferragamo Intense Leather, which I don't think it smells like. So that's kind of where it is. For me, is this something I would reach for every day? Probably not. Is it something that I would recommend to you guys? It really depends. If you like the Ferragamo DNA, you know, that leather smell, then I would, you know, consider picking this one up, because it is more similar to the original Ferragamo than Intense Leather to me, just being that it's fresher. If you're someone who likes that type of thing, then go for it. If you're not really into that DNA, you don't like leather all that much, then I probably wouldn't get this. You know, it's one of those things where if you're looking for a summertime spring scent, you have so many other options. I also think that for some people it may be a bit out there, believe it or not. Not for probably most of you watching this video, but if you're like a straight up brand new beginner, this wouldn't be the type of spring or summer fragrance that you want to dive into. Again, there are much better options out there, being that it has leather, a lot of musk, and just kind of the woods going on. Kind of sets it into a position where it's not really the most beginner friendly. It does have a spiciness to it, almost even a warm spicy, believe it or not. It's not like it's sweet or anything, but I think it's maybe the patchouli again coming through, mixing with just kind of the aromatic mid. It's kind of giving off a warm, spicy smell. As it's sitting on my skin, I mean, it's developing really nice. It's not 100% linear, but it's also not changing too much either, but it is settling down. It's kind of starting to flatten out a little bit, and it is kind of smoothing out as well, really kind of coming together and, you know, just starting to smell more complete. When you spray things on for the first time, you've got notes all over the place, things trying to develop, but after it's settling down, it's really kind of coming together nicely. I'm not sure how performance is going to be on this one. If I had to guess, it would be probably a 6-hour scent. Even though it has that strong base and even mid, aromatic mid, woody base, that sort of thing. Just how it is on my skin right now, it's not coming across like a beast, which you wouldn't expect that, but I don't know, 6, maybe if you're lucky 7 hours is my guess. We'll follow up and do a full review at some point later on down the road, but I would imagine that's where this one is going to fall. For a summertime spring scent, that's not terrible, but I know a lot of people would like better. Also, you know, there are fragrances out there that do perform better for spring and summer. So I think that's really all I have. For this line, I believe typically they're floating at around, what, $50, somewhere around in there, 40, 50, depending on just availability, I suppose. I don't believe testers come with caps, so maybe that's something that you could look into if you're okay with not getting a cap to save some money. Once it falls down to that price range, it would make this one a better pickup. Right now, for a lot of you, I would say probably don't really rush out and blind buy this yet. Maybe wait around for a little bit, sample it if you can, if it starts to pop up. You know, it's nice, but for me, it's just not something I'm getting overly excited about. Alrighty guys, I think that's going to do it for me. That's my thoughts on Ferragamo Bright Leather. Like the concept, it smells nice, but, you know, again, for me, it's one where I'll need some more time with it. You know, maybe I'll like it more. I don't dislike it, it's just not overly exciting for me. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.